Hi, and welcome to another episode of Career Reshaped. I'm Pauline.
And I'm Natasha, and today we welcome Iona Colville, the director of Lotus People, a top-rated Australian recruitment agency known for people-first service. With 8+ years in talent acquisition, from high-volume hiring to strategic agency leadership, Iona is a respected advocate for ethical, transparent, and human-centered recruitment practices. Hey, it's Natasha.
And I'm Pauline.
We're so pumped to bring you even bigger and better stuff this season 2 of Career Reshaped.
We've got new guests, free masterclasses, and all the good vibes you'll only find here.
So don't forget to hit subscribe, follow us on Spotify at Career Reshaped,
and check us out on Instagram at my.career.angels.
Hi Iona, welcome.
Hi, it's good to be here.
Thanks for joining us. So you started your recruitment career in New Zealand and you worked your way up to director in Sydney. What were the big moments that shaped how you now lead and mentor recruiters?
It's an interesting one because I probably couldn't pinpoint like exact big moments as such. It's probably been like a long list of things that have kind of shaped where I've got to in my career so far. I think a big thing for me was actually starting in a big sort of global recruitment agency when I was in New Zealand. That taught me how to build relationships from the ground up. I worked on a really busy temporary desk. The environment was quite intense. I had to learn really quickly and I had to build trust from a young age and genuinely not really knowing what I was doing at the time. And I think that really allowed me to understand like the importance of building genuine relationships. And I think something that's really probably shaped the way I am today is like being able to just have a laugh and like show my personality and just be like a normal human and not take it too seriously. I've always sort of trained my consultants in that way and say, I know you're going to meet a client today. I know that you're going to go and, you're not used to meeting people face to face, but they're just other people like you and I. Enjoy yourself and it'll be fine, and ask them about their kids, where they've been on holiday. It doesn't have to be all the boring work chat, because at the end of the day, we're all out for a coffee. We don't want to just be sitting there talking about work all the time.
I love that advice. That was literally very similar to what my dad told me when I was just starting off my career and I had to go out and network and connect with people. And he just said to me, they're just people. And typically people want to help other people. Not everyone is going to be mean, cold, angry. Like people want to work together and collaborate and connect. So just relax, take it easy. And yeah, life doesn't have to be so serious. You can do good work and enjoy it at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think that's what I've always done. And I think as well, like you build people like people. So that if you just like get to know someone on a normal level, like I'll always go to a meeting. I've got a bit of a weird brain to like remember little like facts about people if it's about them as a person. So it would be, however many kids they've got, like is their kid going off to uni or and that's just because I'm interested, like I actually want to know about them and then sort of ask them about those things. So that's been a really big thing for me. And then I think again what shaped my career would be then moving to Sydney 3 years ago, having to rebuild and reestablish myself within a new market. Which again is something that it's not always easy to do that, and having to build that up. So I've also had to rebuild a desk like multiple times in my career, and I think there's also been like some times when the market's been up, the market's been down. So I've been really resilient. I've had some great mentors in my time. Our founder Sinead, she's always led with empathy and clarity and just being really clear with people, and I think I've always brought that into my leadership and what I've always chosen to do. And I just like seeing people enjoy themselves at work. I'm a bit of a weirdo. Like I love to just have a laugh, and I pull strange faces at the desk when things happen and everyone's like, what was that face, Iona? I'm just like, oh, so I just always like to encourage others to just like have fun and be normal at work, not be normal at work if they don't want to be. And just I think just seeing them being able to be themselves gets the most out of them, and it's really probably the most rewarding part of my job.
Oh, I love that. I wish more companies were like that. I wish more leaders were like that, honestly. I think people might actually enjoy coming to work. If that
Yeah,
was
I
the
think
case.
you have to be there so much. Like you actually have to be at work so much. I want, and I say the girls because we're a fully female office, but I genuinely want them to enjoy work, and I don't want them to take work home after hours. Like I want to try and get like what we need to get done, during work hours, so that they can still preserve their work life balance, and it's critical to me that they actually like do enjoy themselves at work. But genuinely, from that relationship we have, I get a lot out of them. So yeah, it's good.
So they want to do the work.
Yeah,
They
they're a
actually
good
want to
bunch.
put in 100%. So
Mhm.
there's the difference. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good on you. This is the type of boss that everybody wishes that they had. That, let me have
Look,
fun at
nobody's
work.
perfect. Nobody's perfect, but I do like to see myself as a mentor to them rather than a manager. I'm the opposite of a micromanager, but if you get the respect from them, I do believe that like they give you it without you having to micromanage them, and like we just get on really well. And look, don't get me wrong, I can be direct, and I am direct if I need to be, but like I don't often get pushed in that direction. So I enjoy it at the same time.
So you've obviously been in the recruitment world for a long time now. So for someone new working with agencies, recruitment agencies, what's the first thing that they should understand about how recruiters actually operate?
It's quite a simple question to answer for someone that's in the industry, for someone that like knows recruitment and has done it for a long time. But I do genuinely believe that we take for granted that people know how a recruitment agency actually operates. But if you've never had someone to actually explain like what we do, then you quite often will meet with a recruiter and you'll think that you're meeting someone for an actual job in that moment at that time, and they're the hiring person and they're the person that's going to give you the job. It's something that happened to me back in the day. So I think the first thing they need to understand is your recruiter is essentially the middleman. They help the client, they need to fill a position, and then they help the candidate find the job, and like we are that person that's going to help two people that need a service from us. Essentially, when you meet with a recruiter, it will be either for a particular position that they have that they think you'd be good for in the moment, or they'll be meeting you as a way to sort of pipeline for future roles. Recruitment moves quickly, so if you're registered with a recruitment agency and a role comes in, a couple of days later, they can ring you and say, I met you the other day, you'd be perfect for this. We're there to represent and guide through processes and advocate for people, help interview prep, help them through offer stages, essentially get the best possible outcome. But it's really important, and we teach our consultants here this, like, if you've got someone that you believe has never registered with a recruitment agency before, you need to explain how we operate. Otherwise, they're going to leave and they're not going to hear from you in a couple of days, which is fine, but they're going to think they didn't get the job. But that was never meant to be the case, but you just didn't explain. So it's important to explain that, and hopefully that kind of makes sense what I've said.
And I also believe that if it's a good recruiter, then that recruiter can actually guide the candidates. So I remember when I was doing recruitment, I used to like guide saying, look, I want to put you forward to the client, but this is how you should present yourself, or improve in this area, have a little bit more eye contact, things like that. So it's also like a support network and a mentor for that interview as well. So it's not just about the connections, but the person that could actually hold your hand a little bit through the process
Yeah.
too. It's always good
Yes,
to have a recruiter,
yeah, I
guide
think
you.
I think in tough markets, like having a recruiter, it's absolutely no cost to the job seeker, and they're there genuinely to advocate for them, to handle negotiations. I have a friend recently that went direct to a company, and when it got to the sort of offer stage, he was offered a salary that was less than what he had originally, said he wanted. And it's a much more awkward conversation when you're dealing directly with your potential new manager, rather than it is to have a recruiter who you can be really open and honest with, that you've built a relationship with, and you can say, I was really hoping for X. They've come in 5K less than what I wanted. Can you please go back to them? And it's that buffer, it's that trust. We also can make recommendations on their behalf. Like, their CV might not stand out in a crowd, but us speaking to our clients and saying, I know on paper they might not be exactly what you want, but we've met with them twice now and we think that they're unbelievable. And I place so many roles that way. because you're building trust and you're advocating for the candidates.
And that happens so often. There's so many times where we know other recruiters as well, and the same thing happens with them, where the recruiter will say, "Oh, the resume is horrible, but I know they can do the job." And they go in and bat for them because they know that they can get the job done. And I just want to say that I really love that you're teaching your team to let the people know that you are the middleman, that you're not going to say yes or no to the job, because the amount of times that I've known people going for an interview and they think, I've done so well, they said I did really, really well, like I've definitely got the job, and then I have to question them, wait, was this with the recruiter or with the employer? They go, oh, I don't know. Well, where was it? Was it in the employment office, or did you have to go somewhere else? And they go, oh, I went somewhere else. Okay, well, it was probably a recruiter. You might want to clarify. So I love that you clarify that with all of your candidates straight away. It's really positive.
Don't want to take it for granted. Like, you have to remember that some people might be brand new.
So speaking on that, so there are some good recruiters and there are not so great recruiters out there. So what are some green flags and red flags that can help people tell the difference early on who to go with and who not to go with?
Before we get into the nitty-gritty of this topic,
we just wanted to check in and say that if you believe that you need some assistance and that we could help you, reach out to us today, check out our website, join our newsletter. We'd love to be in touch.
we wanted to quickly mention that subscribing to the podcast is the best way to support the show and ensure you never miss an episode. It's super easy. Just click the subscribe button whenever you're listening. Thanks for tuning in.
I don't like saying red flags. I would rather talk about green flags, and then the red flags would just be the opposite.
Fair.
This is what you should be looking for, and then anything outside of that's probably not great. But in terms of that, I think it's responsive communication. It's following through on commitments. If your recruiter is selling you the world and you catch up with them, and then you hear nothing, and they've not said what they're going to do. They've not said anything since, or they've not. You're the one that's having to follow up with them, and you don't know what's happening. It's been really clear from the beginning, and always explaining next steps, so people aren't left wondering. Now, I feel very passionately about like putting myself in people's shoes, and that's what we teach here. Like, it's so strange. I almost feel like emotional when I speak about these things, because it means so much to me. Like, someone's job search, like, you don't understand like how long they've been out of work or how stressful it is. They've got mortgages, they've been made redundant, they need a job. And like, for them, the difference between like waiting for days to hear back about something or not having an update before the weekend, leaving people wondering is just, it's not nice. It actually gives me the fear thinking if anybody here wasn't keeping people in the loop with what's going on. So it takes a recruiter a short period of time to do that. And if they're not keeping you in the loop, then you need to kind of question that. We hear horror stories from some of our clients about other agencies like not actually vetting their candidates, not phone screening them, not meeting them before they send them across. Like, we have a thorough 2-stage screening process before we even represent a candidate for any role. But yeah, you hear that some recruitment agencies don't meet with their candidates before they send them places.
So what's the point of them?
I'm so
what's
confused
the
by
point
that.
of a
I'm
recruiter?
so confused by
Because
that.
it's transactional, and it's not. It's a numbers game, and I hate to say it, but it's what gives recruitment agencies at times like a bad reputation, because there are some recruiters out there that will just push CVs, and they don't even really take any interest in what the candidate actually needs. They don't take any, and again, this is another green flag. Like, does your recruiter actually understand and take time to know what your selling points are, what your non-negotiables are? Do they invest time in getting to know you and not being transactional? So yeah, that's a huge thing. And then even just like looking at reviews, like, have they got good reviews? Do they have a good reputation? But yeah, I would say the main thing would be about being transparent about timelines and next steps. And overall, does your recruiter say what they like? Do they do what they say they're going to do? Are you the one waiting around for an update?
So let's say the job seeker, the candidate, does want to build more of a relationship with the recruiter. So like you said some recruiters make you wait around for an update, but they want to get in touch, but they don't want to come off as desperate and hound the recruiter. So what's the best way to reach out and add value to that relationship?
And again, it probably just flows really nicely onto what we're talking about. Recruiters should be keeping people up to date with what's going on. But I think sometimes a mistake that candidates can make is they're not listening to the timelines. They're not understanding. I know it's only Tuesday, but I'm shortlisting for this role on Friday. From there, the client says that they're going to be able to review the CVs on Tuesday. From there, you will hear from me, but it's likely to not be until Tuesday afternoon or Wednesday. But I'll come back to you at that time. That is setting very clear timelines where, us as recruiters, like, we're not going to be able to probably know anything in that time. And if we do, we'll let you know. But like, we have to then move on with other pieces of work and we need to speak to other candidates. That's where it comes down to communication being very clear. So it's a stressful time for candidates. So I still think it's totally fine. Like, if you've still got that time frame of a week and you are feeling anxious, a nice LinkedIn message or an email goes a long way. You will be noticed, you will be remembered, but just constantly calling is going to hinder the recruiter in what they're trying to do in their day to day. But that's a two-way street. Like, you've got to have open comms on both sides of things. So like, even when you catch up with them, you can be like, because we'll do this with candidates, so candidates can do this with us. Do you mind if I check in with you once a week? Is that okay? And what's your preferred communication? Do you prefer a phone call, a text, an email? Like, it works both ways. Like, how would you like me to stay in touch with you? I think that that's really important to kind of just set the expectation.
I think
I love that check-in once a week. I don't think really recruiters do that. I think it's so important because, one, you want to keep the candidate warm, especially if your client is taking a little bit of time to get back to you because you can't control what they're doing and life happens, meetings, whatever, And then the other one is you need to know where they're at. Are they at final stages? Have they already got a job? Because you don't want to invest your time putting them forward only to find out that they're not actually there. And from the candidate's point of view, it's that fine line between understanding that if you want to see them, if they're up for a second round, they'll know. You will call them, but also saying, hey, don't forget me. I don't want to get lost in the system either. Is that balance? So I think a weekly is a great one. I think it's not overbearing, but it's still just a little.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's for us, we do candidate care weekly for any temporary candidates that we know are active, that we don't have in processes. We will call through our active temp list every single week. And if it's perm, it's every 2 weeks. We'll read the notes. We're very, like, we take really clear notes. So, if it is someone that's really, really happy 2 weeks ago, they're in that perm position, like, they don't, this is like our active list that we will call, like, someone who's actively looking for perm work. They'll get a call every week or two, and temps, like, obviously a little bit more frequent. The thing is with us, and it is the genuine truth, and I think any candidates that's ever worked with us, I'd hope that they would have had this experience, is we do just update people all the time. Like, if I've sent someone to a role but I haven't quite heard back yet, I will still check in. We will still check in on a, every day or two. And it is genuinely just to make sure nothing's changed and you're still, like, how are the other interviews you've got going, or have you changed your mind on anything? It's really important. So yeah, we do check in all the time anyway.